friends, it's Hannah, and today we're going to be making some wall art with boxwood. This 5-point stag measures 30 inches tall and 30 inches wide, and his antlers light up. Using a piece of white foam board from the Dollar Tree, I drew a simple head of a buck directly onto the foam board. For the antlers, I used 6 battery-powered branches that I purchased from Temu. I used 20 by 20 boxwood mats that I purchased from Hobby Lobby and 1 moss mat that I purchased from Temu. Using scissors, I cut out the head from the foam board, and I was not too careful whether it was perfect or not. I want this to have an organic look. I used hunter green paint instead of the moss on all the rest of the projects, but for the first project, I used the moss. I cut the moss out using the foam board buck's head as a template, and I also cut out the head from the boxwood using the foam board as a template. I just used nippers and it was very easy to cut through the boxwood. It all came out in one piece, and you can see when I hold it up, it's got a beautiful, very organic look, and that's why I wasn't worried about cutting it perfectly. I did cut some of the bigger stray pieces off, and then using a lot of hot glue, I glued the moss onto the foam board, and this is where you would use paint instead. I added a lot of hot glue to the moss, and I glued the boxwood directly onto the moss that is over the foam board. Next, I used battery-operated lighted twigs from Temu, and I used 6 of them. I used 3 per antler, and I shaped them together using the 3 twigs and wrapping them around each other to shape the antlers. And I just kept working with them until I was happy with the way that the antlers looked. I did look online to see how a 5-point stag's antlers would look, and I mimicked that look. And these turned out so pretty. The dark brown next to the green of the boxwood really looks attractive. And I duplicated the antler on the other side, and I really do like the way that it came out. Using clear Jock glue, I pressed the antlers down into the back, and I added a lot of hot glue as well onto the sides, and then I covered it with masking tape, making sure that there was hot glue beneath the masking tape as well, because these antlers are heavy. I laid this on the floor and added a heavy box onto it and left it for 24 hours to dry before I proceeded. The next thing that I did is I used a gift box from the Dollar Tree to hold all of the battery packs because I didn't want them just dangling down. I wanted to be able to reach them easily. And so I cut out a piece of the box, and using Jock glue and hot glue, I glued this to the back of the box, just large enough in order for all the battery packs to fit neatly in. I painted the gift box in the back of the piece hunter green because you're going to be able to see it from the side, and I want to camouflage it. I added the lid to the gift box to hold the battery pack and added another box on top in order for it to hang straight. And this project is complete. For our next project, we're going to be making a gingerbread man. And I did the same thing as I did with the buck. I drew a gingerbread man onto a piece of foam board, and I cut the gingerbread man out of the foam board. This gingerbread man is 19 and a half inches tall. He's a very good size. I used the Hunter green paint and I painted it directly onto the foam board, and that's what I recommend that you do with all of the projects. I waited for the paint to dry and then laying the foam board as a template over the boxwood, I used my nippers to cut the gingerbread man directly out of the boxwood. And this boxwood is so easy to cut, it cuts like butter. And it comes apart, as I said, all in one piece, and it has a beautiful organic look. I add plenty of hot glue to the painted side of the foam board, and I glue the gingerbread boxwood directly onto the foam board. If there's any sparse areas, I add a little bit of greenery if I need to, and I also trim back any edges that are sticking out too far. But overall, I don't make too many cuts because I want it to look natural. Here's how the gingerbread man looks before we decorate him, and I think he just looks great. I used beautiful red ribbon that you can see through from the Dollar Tree, and I made a bow. I didn't tie the bow. I used red floral wire and I just looped it around the back of the bow very tightly, and I made a bow tie or a bow to put on the neck of the gingerbread man. And I love the way that the red looks on the boxwood. And the next thing that I did is I purchased these really cute multicolored balls from Amazon, and I glued them onto the gingerbread man. I glued one onto the center of the bow, and the other three I glued on as his buttons. And I love the way he came out. He really looks so adorable. I'm really pleased with the way that this gingerbread man turned out. And with that, this project is complete. For our next project, we're going to be making a Christmas tree. And I did the same thing with the Christmas tree that I did with the buck and with the gingerbread man. I just cut a Christmas tree out of the foam board. I painted the foam board green. I glued the boxwood onto the green part of the foam board, and I cut the boxwood out and glued that onto the foam board. Then I added a red ribbon with the same ribbon that I used on the gingerbread man and used the same little ornaments for the Christmas tree. And with that, this project is complete. And for our last project, I'm going to be making an ornament. I purchased the ornament from the Dollar Tree, and just using a paint scraper, I removed the ornament hanger from the top of the ornament, and it came off very easily, and I set that aside to use it again later. I turned the ornament over backwards, and I'm going to be using remnants of the boxwood. So I glued half of one piece from one remnant and half of one piece from another remnant, and I just pushed them closely together, and you could not see that they were two separate pieces. And then I cut the boxwood all around the ornament, and after that, I added glue to where the ornament holder went, and I reapplied the silver ornament holder, and I trimmed off the edges around the ornament. And the next thing that I did is I made a hanger out of that beautiful ribbon that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. And with that, this project is complete. The next thing that I did is I added hangers to all the backs of the projects. And I used chenille sticks and hot glue, and I hot glued the chenille sticks, and then I also added hot glue across the project, and I added masking tape across the chenille and the rest of the hot glue to give these extra strength, even though they're all very light with the exception of the reindeer. And I did the same thing on the snowman, and I did the same thing with the reindeer and the ornament. I made a hanger out of the ribbon, and I so enjoyed making these projects for you. I hope they inspire you to make something beautiful. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you next time.